Hey everyone, I'm Ingrid Arna and I'm the founder of ingridarna.com, and I'm really excited because today is the first video edition of Love, Sex and Money. And some of you might know I had a successful iTunes show, and I better also introduce Charlie. This is my little puppy, my furry baby. And it was very successful. People loved it because I got to interview wonderful experts from all around the world, many New York Times bestselling authors, and we covered a whole wide array, and she's licking my feet, of sexy subjects like love and marriage and happiness and, you know, getting richer and more wealthier and really increasing our wealth consciousness. And we're going to be covering all those subjects all again. And today I have a really delicious guest with me, and his name is Stephen Key. And he is a wonderful entrepreneur, and he's specialized mostly in licensing his creative ideas, and he's made an absolute fortune out of it. And he's done incredibly well, but he's also a really caring, heart-centered guy, and he loves helping other entrepreneurs. And he has a new book out called One Simple Idea for Entrepreneurs and Startups. And so we're going to delve into how to do that, and a little bit also about Stephen's previous book, all about licensing as well. So I hope you really enjoy it. And if you want to sign up for ingridarna.com, you get juicy videos like this every week. We also have the Body Love videos, which cover mind-body health and what to eat and juicy recipes and all that kind of stuff. Sign up at ingridarna.com and you'll receive those, as I said, weekly. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy this video. Hey, Stephen Key. Welcome to Love, Sex and Money. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
I'm excited. Look, congratulations on One Simple Idea for Startups and Entrepreneurs, your new book, Live Your Dreams and Create Your Own Profitable Company. I am so excited. I'm thrilled because I loved your first book, which was a bestseller. I got so much out of it. And now I'm really excited to get into the nitty-gritty of how we can all become rich from our ideas. Isn't that the whole focus?
Well, it takes more than a book, but it takes a lot of work. But the book's going to help everyone. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. So before we get into the real steps and the strategy of how to get started, turning our ideas into products that we can license, can you tell us a little bit about your journey and the products that you've licensed?
Okay. I started my career just, as a young man. What do I do? I left college early, and I didn't think anybody would hire me. I didn't have any skills. I didn't have any money. But I wanted to create things. So I figured out a way of making things myself and taking them out to street fairs and selling them for 7 years. And I loved every minute of it. But everybody thought I was a really big loser. But I loved it. I learned so much. But the one thing I did learn, that you have to be able to test your idea very quickly. And if it's not the right idea or at the right price point, you got to get rid of it fast and come up with another idea. So I learned to test ideas, and that method is actually in both books. Now, the first book I want to talk about real quick.
Okay.
It's the first one that came out. It was One Simple Idea, but it was all about licensing, where what I've done in my career, I'll come up with an idea, I'll show it to a company, and if they like it, they basically rent that idea from me. Meaning they do all the work. They do all the packaging, they do all the manufacturing, they do everything. And what I love about that, they can take an idea and they can bring it to market very, very quickly. In fact, it's really speed to market. So for some of us that just want to be creative, that don't want to start our own business, that maybe we have a job and a family, licensing is fantastic. That was the first book. It came out about 18 months ago. And throughout my career, I've been coming up with very simple ideas, licensing those ideas to companies, and every time they sell one, I get paid. So that's what the first book is about. And if anybody hasn't found that book, please do. You'll enjoy it. It is
life-changing. It's great. I think, though, a lot of people, especially maybe more in the Australian market, and this is a bit of a, it's a generalization, but I think a lot of people can't completely get their head around licensing. I think they think it's a bit of a foreign concept or too good to be true. So really, just to sort of solidify this concept of doing business, basically you come up with an idea. It could be, like I know that you have come up with a few really great ideas. So could we maybe use one of those for an example, like maybe the vitamin product label that you license, just to give people an idea of what
I've got. Here, I'll show everybody in just a minute. Can you see that where you just spin it?
Yeah.
It gives you more information in a little window there.
Yes.
And that's a very simple idea that I've licensed many, many times and sold hundreds of millions of labels where I didn't have to really do anything but show a company the idea. I have to protect it a little bit. But every time they sell one, I collect a royalty.
Okay, so that's great.
It sounds too easy. But let me explain how it works so everybody really understands it. Companies, and that's what's really wild about it. This is something you can do. You can live anywhere in the world and do this. Companies are looking for ideas. And the reason why they've opened their doors for all of us to submit ideas to them, it's cheaper for them to look at ideas from everybody than to pay someone in the back room now. I might have 50 guys in the back room that are just brilliant. But if I open my doors to the whole world and say, hey, I'm looking for ideas, that's called open innovation. Companies have embraced that. They realize I'm going to get more ideas. It's cheaper to pay someone a royalty than to pay these 50 guys all year long. So companies have embraced open innovation. So that's the first thing. Companies want your ideas. The second thing you have to realize is that companies, because of the demand for new, they're always looking for new products. Walk inside the mall or the store, every time you go in there, you see something new now. Our appetite is so huge around the world that we want to see what's new. So there's this big demand that people want new. Companies have to figure out how to bring new products to market. And so now they're asking us. All right, but you have to be careful. A couple things you need to do. You need to be able to protect an idea. Okay, and there's some great tools, very affordable tools. I don't think you ever own anything. Even if you think you need a patent, you can file for a provisional patent application. You can be anywhere in the world and license an idea to someone in the United States. That's what's so wild about it. So
which is something I would absolutely love to do. That's why I'm fascinated. But I also want to encourage, and that's why we're doing also this interview, I really want to encourage other people that it's not so, number one, it's not so complicated, that you can do it if you have a great idea, but there is like a strategy like anything in terms of bringing it to market or bringing it to a company and approaching them. So one of the steps is obviously then to, as you said, to protect it. So provisional patent, and what about a trademark?
Yeah, a provisional patent application, you can file it yourself in the United States for $125. That means you can put patent pending on your idea.
Yes.
That has perceived ownership. And you have 1 year to show it to these companies and see if they want it. And if they do license it, then I have them pay for the patent.
Ah, clever.
Yeah, see,
clever.
Because, instead of paying me in advance for dollars, I say, don't pay me. Help pay for the patents. I own it, but now they're paying for it. That's another way of not top-loading a deal. It's building the right team. That's one way. Here's the other thing that's very important that most people miss. You have to understand a little bit about manufacturing. Because at the end of the day, if you come up with a great idea and no one can make it, it's not anything. So that's not hard to do.
Do you suggest like coming up with a prototype of your product to just sort of prove that the concept actually can work?
You know, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes I will put together what's called a sell sheet. Has a picture of it could be a drawing. It might have a big benefit. It does this. It solves this problem.
Yes.
And my contact information. You're always selling the benefits first. Not the product, but the benefits of the product. So sometimes I'll come up with an idea. I don't even know if it will work or not. But when I send it to a company and they say, we want more information, that's a green light. That tells me, all right, I've got interest, now I've got to start working on it a little bit. We're always so afraid that we have to prove that it works. Sell the benefit first. Show the benefit to a company. If they like it, then come back and try to figure it out. That's one way to do this. The other thing you have to be careful of, and not careful, but you have to work with good companies.
And that's great. So how do you just determine who is a good company? Like, is it through research and understanding who rips people off or not, or who likes to, really outsource their creative concepts and ideas?
That's exactly right. Look for companies that have embraced open innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go to their website, look at how they're dealing with not inventors, but product developers. Mm-hmm. That's what we would be called. Yep. Look at how, and when you call them or send them an email, see how they treat you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Also, type in after the company's name complaints or lawsuits. And if something comes up, it's all on the internet now.
Yes, that's a great idea. Excellent.
And you'll find that some of the mid-level companies need you more than the big companies do.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. So rather than, if you wanted to go to a food company, for instance, you're not necessarily going to go to Kraft, for instance. You may go for a company with 50 or 100 employees who are obviously open and looking at innovation. They're growing, but they're not going to necessarily have all the resources in-house that
Correct.
Something like a top 10 company may have.
They're more willing to take risk.
Yes.
When you show them an idea, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. You want to show them a small improvement on an existing product. And when you look at it that way, it already has a proven marketplace for it. Mm-hmm. And there's a good chance it can be manufactured because you made a small improvement on it. Though that you just took away risk. Yes. And that's what you want to do. So
I love this whole concept. I really do, because, I've raised a lot of money. I've built my business in clothing, actually, but it just takes so much energy and capital and time. And I love this because you can really just, as you said, diminish the risk, but also take away all that heavy duty work, because, you as a personality and as a person are really a creative. And I think a lot of us have these creative talents. And I think often, especially if you are a creative, it doesn't mean that you're not good at the left and right brain, but often it can it can bog you down. And I think that in this way, I don't know, I feel really excited about the whole strategy to be able to take concepts and ideas that we can protect them well enough and be really prepared and offer a great benefit like you're talking about. That this is something that really is viable for all of us if we are clever about how we go about it.
If you're a person that has a lot of ideas, mm-hmm. and you don't want to wear all the different hats,
yes, me,
then licensing is a beautiful business model. But you have to realize sometimes some products cannot be licensed. And sometimes there's a lot of individuals out there that want to wear all the hats. That want to be in complete control.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so there's the flip side to licensing, and that's what the next book is about.
Okay.
The next book is one simple idea for startups and entrepreneurs. And I took a small company a few years ago. It was so simple. It was really kind of, looking back, I'm surprised I even did this because I didn't think there was opportunity. But there's always opportunity if you know where to look. A friend of mine showed me a little guitar pick. And he said, he was a musician and he had a couple stores, and he said, Steve, can you do anything different to a guitar pick? And so I started playing around with the designs, and I came up with different shapes, like Mickey Mouse or a skull or just weird, fun stuff. And we took it to a trade show. I made some samples, and I did some testing to make sure I had the right designs. We talk about that in the book. But I took it to a trade show, and it was an instant hit. And what was really amazing about it, we sold tens of millions of guitar picks on a product that has been around for 80 years, on a product where there's three companies that just dominate all guitar picks. And we came in and we sold them to not only music stores, but we sold them to every store that carried, from fast food stores to Walmart, to gas stations. We sold them everywhere. Our market, because we changed the shape, mm-hmm. had a larger market. And so the book that's out now, that's just coming out November 5th, it's really about three things. How to start a company and with a simple idea. We talk about what is a simple idea. So you really know the difference. We talk about an idea that's small
Yes.
You just have to know how to find them. And you can find them by even just looking at some of these companies and what they're doing. And what are they missing? Because they can't do it all.
No.
These companies are big and they're slow. We always think because we're small, we're at a disadvantage. But that's not true.
Makes us more agile and flexible to the market, don't you think?
Fast.
I mean, I've dealt with some of these big companies. I just want to rip my hair out because they're like move at the pace of a tortoise. And as we were talking about my speed, it's like, okay, you know, I really, at the moment, I'm going through a few different things with business where I am dealing with big companies. And I'm like, can you let me know already? Like, this is like pulling teeth. So it's great.
I think there's more opportunity today for individuals that want to start their own companies at any time. Because of social networking, we can build our audience, we can love our audience, create good products where they love our products and they love our company. Number two, we can be very transparent and they can see who we are and we can touch them like we never could do before. They're afraid of those things.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I don't think that they have that sort of deep sort of heart marketing that I think the entrepreneur, the solo entrepreneur or the, you know, the startup CEO can really develop. And I think that comes from also the passion, don't you believe, that you have behind what you're creating? So I love the idea of looking at what they're not doing right. And I do that when I assess things as well. However, I think one of the things about really, I think Truman said something about, you know, don't ask what the world needs, ask what really brings you alive. And I feel that that concept or philosophy drives an entrepreneur. Would you agree? Because, you know, even with a startup, there's so much energy. Even if you are mitigating your risk, there's a lot of energy and passion that needs to come there and needs to be consistent. And if you don't have that real drive behind it, I don't know, I think money is just one aspect. I think you have to have a real core desire and reason for what you're bringing to the table. Or is that more...
Yeah, you're right about the money aspect. I think everybody thinks if I have enough money, I can make this work. That's not true at all. I think what I realized, that first and foremost, if you have something you believe in, let's test it first to make sure you're right. And there's ways of testing it without spending a lot of money. That's the first thing to do. And if it's not right, all right, put it aside, do something else. But let's do that before we really put, emotionally and financially, we put everything towards that idea. So that's the first thing we talk about. But number two, I think if you look at your competitor's website and you really look at their website, see, today we can look at their website and we can read between the lines. We can look at their attitude. We can tell if they're innovative. We can look at packaging. We can even look at the store locator and know exactly what stores they're in now. We can build a better package, a better product. We can follow stores are already in. We can follow and we can learn from them and do a better job of what they're missing.
Absolutely.
We can do it from our home with a computer or go down to the store, but you need to know what to look for. So I do believe that people love, there's very few companies people love, but when you find an entrepreneur that loves their product, loves helping consumers, there's a connection there that the big guys will never have. So we have an advantage that we can use.
I've seen a lot of successful entrepreneurs, and I especially the women, and I feel like they do bring a more heart and love to their marketing. Like really, they genuinely love their customer, and I think people feel that. You feel it. You can tell whether someone's genuine or not. And I think in this new online space with social marketing and media, I think that's where we all have to go. Like if you're not authentic, people can sniff it out. They're smart. They know if you're really, really wanting to help them or not. And I was speaking to you the other day, and you mentioned a great quote about really being generous and feeding your audience before you get paid. Can you explain a bit more about that whole business philosophy?
Yeah, I think things have changed. Marketing has changed so much in the last 5 years, and I'm fascinated by it. But there's one thing I have realized, and you're right, the camera or the way you brand yourself in your package, people can see the truth. So you better be passionate, and you better be honest, and you better really love it, and people will see it. If you're not, they're going to see it. So find what you really feel in your heart that's going to work, and your customers will love you. But the part about marketing, I think, is so wonderful today. And a lot of people have a hard time understanding that because it kind of goes against everything you think. Someone actually gave me this quote, Jim Horan, and it was a beautiful quote. He said, look, before you can eat from the village, you need to feed the village before you can eat from you need to feed the village before you can eat from the village. Meaning you have to help your customer. And it's about us. It's not about my product or me. It's about how my product's going to help my customer first. I always have to think of my customer first and then build your product from that. Yeah. That's going to show that you care. And they're going to know that you care. So I think the quote is, before you can eat from the village, you need to feed the village. Information, you feed it with the care, and knowing who they are and what their needs are, and giving them a product that they're going to need, use, and it's going to benefit them. And it's not about the money. I think if you chase the money, I think it's a wrong approach always. I think you can tell a mile away when someone's chasing the money or businesses are chasing the money. Good companies are built with good people with good foundations. And they put it one at a time, and they build it strong. But what I love about it today, you don't have to, you can, because of online sales, and because we're all connected globally now around the world, you can live anywhere and do this.
I know. Absolutely. I think it's a new form of abundance and a new form of doing business and having that sense of freedom. And I think with being an entrepreneur and having a startup, I think the entrepreneurial spirit is a lot about freedom. And now with the online marketplace, I think we can have more freedom. Like you said, we can live in the south of France if we want, eating croissants all every day. Or we could live in Bali, or, I mean, that's my goal.
A lot of this, I interviewed all these other entrepreneurs that were running their own businesses. And what I really liked about all of them is that they all told a different story, but it was all the same. And it was the same in that they really cared for their customer. They didn't have big office building. They did it either at their home or small office. And they had freedom to do other things besides just their business. So they were more well-rounded individuals. Yeah. And I really liked that. Most of them didn't have to raise a lot of money because they did small ideas first. They tested it, and then they grew at a pace. Yeah. And they all had some struggles. I mean, we all do, but they all learned from them. And that's what I really like about it. And that's what I kind of weaved it in the book of even their struggles. But because I think people need to know, hey, what went wrong? And how do I avoid that trap?
You learn from that, right? Because if you grow too fast, and like you're probably always going to have challenges in business, whether you grow incrementally or, but I think with the incremental growth or the organic growth, you allow yourself the time to reflect and learn, and because otherwise you can have really big losses. So this way you can kind of learn, adjust, correct things, and then sort of move forward with a sense of, or more knowledge. And as they say always, like, knowledge is, you know, power. For me, I've made so many mistakes, and I did some really big doozies with a lot of money invested, and I would never want to do that again. I mean, look, I learned a lot from that experience, and I remember speaking to a guy who spent, you know, over $100,000 on an MBA in Switzerland, and he said to me, Ingrid, our venture capitalists came in, and the first thing he said in our class was, you can either go and like basically lose 100 grand, or, you know, you can try and learn it through this class. It's just that you're probably going to learn kind of the same lessons. You know, spend 100 grand on an MBA, or, you know, put 100 grand down the toilet. And the learning was great. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. It was definitely, you know, a few big kicks up the arse. That's for sure. And I think by now, but I've had to really readjust, because I lived in New York in the States. I was caught up in this whole, you know, used to work in advertising, really caught up in the big growth and the push. And I was really, I was a novice. I didn't know what I didn't know. You know, I was just really quite ignorant in some ways. And now going forward, what you're saying about this incremental organic growth, I think it's vital. I think it's vital to actually do really well and become really wealthy and prosper, because yeah, you give yourself that time there.
You're right. What we ended up selling our little guitar picks in over 10,000 stores, in Walmart, 7-Eleven. We had them all over the world. But it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to Walmart. We didn't walk into Walmart and land that very quickly. We had built 1 store, 2 stores, 3 stores, 100 stores, and we built it that way. And so by the time we got to Walmart, we were ready for Walmart.
Yeah.
And
really big message. I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel that they fail when they don't go fast. We're a culture addicted to speed. You know, even with the internet and the advent of that, we want things like, we want fast money, fast cars, fast love, fast weight loss. You know, it's like, you know, and as a consequence, you know, sort of going off track, but a lot of entrepreneurs also probably suffer from exhaustion. So this whole slow down approach and understanding that, you know, like if I knew what you just said, like it probably took you, how many years did it take you to get to Walmart?
About 3 years.
Yeah. So if I had that sort of psychological preparedness around how long it really takes, I think I would have been a lot more gentle on myself, but I kept feeling like I'm a failure because I haven't gotten to Target, you know, in my first 6 months of business, you know, but that's how I was thinking.
But you know what's amazing? To be successful at Target or Walmart, you really have to have a lot of successes before you get there. And
Absolutely.
Because once you get there, you really, you should be there. You should be there. And and I'm all about doing little small tests, because what I think is right, maybe it's not right. And I've seen time and time again, I guessed wrong. And by starting small, we were able to put certain product in a store and then watch it very closely. Even if we lost money, I could readjust the package, I could readjust the price to find that magic product that looked right, had the right message, the right branding, the right price, and the right package. And once we found that, then we were able to expand. But a lot of people want to grow so fast without, you know, really paying the dues to understand that. So when we got to the larger retailers, we knew exactly what we were doing. Now, the whole thing about Walmart, that I have to admit, you're never really ready for Walmart, okay? You think you are, and you're ready in some ways with your packaging, your product, but when that first order comes in, it blows your mind. And I talk about in the book of all the mistakes I made at first, even from ordering the space of my warehouse to put the product in. I didn't measure how to walk around the pallet. I just measured the pallet and how many I could get in a warehouse. And when all the pallets came, it was like, what is all this stuff? So it was a journey. And then what was really amazing too at the Walmart, they give you a very short time, because we had to we got the raw material, we put it together and shipped it. We had like 12 days to send a $500,000 order. And when I did the math of how many it was going to take to assemble it, it was 100 people. And you realize how do you do that? So we found ways to do it creatively to bring a lot of people through fundraising to put our product together, and we hit the date of Walmart. So you have to be creative through all of it. So the book is about thinking ahead, always thinking a little bit further ahead, further ahead, further ahead, but being smart and testing. And if it's not right, kick that idea to the curb and come up with another one.
I love it.
But it's all about you know, really loving your product, I think you have to really love your customer. Mm-hmm. And if you do, you're going to do the best job you can for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I cannot wait to get more stuck into it because I loved your first book so much. I learned a lot. I feel a deeper sort of sense of confidence. So I know that this one's going to rock my world. So tell us a little bit more about the bonuses that you have for the book.
Well, you know, what I did last year, I always think that when you kick off a book, you want everybody to pick it up, and there's some great incentives. So we did it last year. McGraw-Hill, which is my publisher, was so excited about it. We didn't know what we were doing, but it worked, and people just loved it. And they ended up taking pictures of the book. And so I said to my team, I said, look, we're going to do the same thing we did the first year. We're going to give away over $1,000 of free stuff if you buy the book between a certain date. We do free webinars. We have other experts coming on. Some things that just give you more information from a database that we built of how to find buyers, how to find free money, how to find overseas manufacturers, everything. We spent so much time to build a database. We're going to give that away for free.
Wow. To
bring in guys like Jim Horan that's going to give a lecture on the one-page business plan, to talk about QVC. We've got Kevin Harrington that was one of the...
Yes, I know him.
Yes, he was on Shark Tank.
Okay, yeah.
Where he's going to talk about how to win an As Seen on TV world as well. We're going to bring all these things together, but you have to purchase the book November 5th to 10th.
Okay.
And when you purchase it, you just come to my website, Invent Right, that's I-N-E-N-T, right, R-A-G-H-T, and just put in your little receipt there, and then you get access to all these free stuff.
That's great. Yeah, I'm really interested in the whole QVC model and home shopping. I think it's fantastic. And even the whole infomercial, I mean, that's an art unto itself, isn't it? I
didn't realize, we had Kevin on and we had John Dewar that did the ab roller, 400, I think he did 400 million of these things. I mean, just crazy numbers. And we did an interview, we said, look, how did it work for you? How did you do it? So we've got this class that they came on and they gave all of us the information. Hey, if you want to go in that world, this is how you do it.
Yeah, I love it.
So you get access to that, a bunch of other stuff. You can see it on the website, InventRight, all the free bonuses. And people just love it. You know what I love even more, though? Send me a picture of the book. And we got 4 other bonuses when you do that. And I just love it because then I see people in the stores are happy. I'm happy. The publisher loves it. Everybody gets free stuff. And it's a good time for all.
That's fantastic. Do you know when the online version of the book will come out? Is it a while away or?
Actually, you know, Amazon does everything early. Okay, yes. So you can actually order it now. You can get the book on Amazon. You can order the hardcover or the. In fact, I've got one. I've got my copy now. So
show me. Beautiful. Love it. Red, sexy.
Yeah, and you can get the copy now, but even if you get the copy now, you can still put your receipt in on the 5th.
Okay,
and
awesome.
Even after the 10th, you can still put it in. So
okay.
I hate to tell everybody that, but I want everybody to get these bonuses because we put together a great package. We did it last year, and everybody just benefited. We also put a database last year of over 1,400 companies looking for ideas. We put that together, and we still get all these people on the internet finding the databases we put together. It takes a lot of time, but I'm very proud of them. But they're great tools, and we offer it to everybody once they purchase the book.
That's awesome. I can't wait. I want to get the 14,000 companies on my Rolodex. That's a quick way to build your golden contact list, that's for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And I look forward to giving you some feedback on how other people go with their products and innovations.
Oh, I love it. And Send me an email. People, send me emails. Tell me what's going on. I want to hear your successes. I want to even hear your struggles. Okay. Because you have to struggle a little bit. I understand it, but the goal is this. Keep going. Be persistent. Love what you do. You'll be successful. Guarantee it. And
they via Facebook at Stephen M. Key, is it?
Yes, or they can, Facebook, of course. Please join it, myself on Facebook. You can also find me at Stephen, S-T-E-P-H-E-N, at inventright.com. Send me an email. Love to hear from you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, and keep rocking. Good luck with the book. I know it's going to be an awesome success.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you very much.
It will be. Bye.